Hey everybody, Patrick Costas here. Give me one moment to get everything set up here. Hope everybody's doing well. So we got actually a lot of breaking news to go to before we can even talk about the little agenda I had planned here. And once again, if you have anything you'd like to live chat, go ahead and do it. I'm watching it, so feel free to talk with me or ask me a question if you'd like. So I'm going to go right into the breaking news. Da, 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 da. Hold on. All right. So we got a couple of big news things going on here. Looks like John McCain has a brain tumor. And when you go in there, it looks pretty bad, actually. It looks like. So it says Senator John McCain's been diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. U.S. Senator John McCain revealed Wednesday evening that he has a brain tumor. The announcement treatment options may include a combination of chemotherapy and radiation. Further consultation. It can grow because whatever that word is, whatever kind of cancer that is, can grow rapidly. The most common symptoms are usually caused by increased pressure in the brain. They include all these here: headache, nausea, vomiting, drowsiness, all these type of things. I don't know if this would affect behavior, but it might explain a few things. He's been acting a little strange for quite some time. Incidentally, I mean, I disagree with virtually everything that John McCain does politically, but I don't wish ill on anybody, and I wish for him to recover. But according to all this is probably pretty serious. I think I've known a couple folks actually had this, and it didn't end very well. So yeah, that's breaking news on that. Looks like Senator John McCain has been diagnosed with a brain tumor. So don't know what that'll mean. I'm assuming he'll stay in his role as a senator from Arizona for a while, but so that seat might be opening up, or he might resign, or we'll just have to see what happens with that. Now, this is another little bit of drama that has happened, and I'm a little perturbed by this. So basically, this came out in the New York Times, and he said that apparently said this. He said on Wednesday that he would have never appointed Attorney General Jeff Sessions had he known that Mr. Sessions would recuse himself over the Russia investigation. So there you go. And I honestly can understand why he'd feel that way, because I'd be a little upset also that my attorney general did that without checking with me first. If I was the president, I can understand that. My problem is with him airing his dirty laundry for everybody to see. I don't think that's a very smart idea. It's not like the mainstream media or the legion of enemies that President Trump has. They don't need a lot of extra ammo to go after him. I mean, they make things up. So, I mean, the last thing you need to do is be handing him things. And another thing, I mean, I don't know Jeff Sessions, obviously. I don't know any of these people, but I think if I was called out like this and I was in a senior position like Mr. Sessions, I think I would probably resign. I mean, that's pretty much a vote of no confidence from the president in the attorney general. So I don't know. I don't know Sessions, and I don't know how he's going to take this, but very public flogging is the way I would take it. So, and I would probably resign and call it good, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. But I don't think this is a very smart move by President Trump. I don't think it's a good idea to go in there and be saying these things, and to the media that hates you, just giving them swords like this. Unless he wants Sessions to leave, and maybe he thinks if he embarrasses him enough, that'll get rid of him. If that's the case, that's a horrible strategy. But hopefully it was just maybe he's being too honest with the media. I don't know, but that's the kind of thing that we don't. I mean, you can see it's the #1 story on Drudge Report. So I think there's a possible suspicion that the rest of the mainstream media has figured it out by now. So not a very good thing. Not a good thing to be doing. All right. So now I'm going to go back to what I was my original planned programming. Let me open up the camera here. Okay, so here it is. And why is this thing open? Oh, annoying. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, sometimes have issues with technology. I don't know. Bad. All right, the original agenda I had planned here. What's the difference between a Hillary bot and a Trump bot? I mean, you know, when I say bot, I'm referring to like the folks that blindly support them on Twitter, that'll attack anybody, or that on mainstream media, they just blindly follow the person. It doesn't matter if they sacrificed, you know, innocent puppies to Baal or something. They don't care. They'll follow them in Armageddon. And that was my indictment to all these Hillary supporters during the election, was that they absolutely had no spine, no will of their own. They just simply follow whatever Hillary says, and they have no critical thinking ability. Well, the sword goes both ways. And with Trump, you know, I'm starting to see this trend more and more of a kind of Trump bot mentality. Now, that's not to say I'm against the president or I'm sorry I voted for him or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, just because I voted for the guy doesn't mean I'm not going to hold him accountable. It doesn't mean I'm not going to say, well, wait a minute, that's not what you promised. I'm going to call these things out because that's what you do. It's called holding your politicians accountable. And if we did that more, we probably wouldn't be in quite the mess that we're in. But anyway, that's my thing. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But there's a lot of this stuff going on now where you're basically either with Trump or against him. And that's kind of a dangerous place to be at, because he's going to miss out, and a lot of these Trump supporters will miss out on some good critical thinking. You know, it's not bad to take some criticism sometimes. Sometimes it can be very constructive, you know, and they're going to be shutting that down, you know, by doing that. And I just don't think that's the way to go, is to blindly follow everything that President Trump does, and not to listen to any type of critical thinking. And I'll give you a couple examples of where I'm really upset with the way President Trump has been doing this, or a couple of issues, a couple of things he's done I'm having some very big problems with. First, a little backstory about the Iran deal. The Iran deal, is the reason I even got into social media. It's the reason I started a YouTube channel and all that, was because I was so angry over the fact that the country that built the bombs that killed a lot of my friends, you know, a lot of Iranian bombs killed them in Iraq. They had those type of IEDs that would go right through a Humvee, right through our up-armored Humvees. I mean, just horrific wounds, just god-awful wounds. And two friends of mine actually were killed by them, you know. And to think that Obama was going to give them this money and, you know, make this deal with them was absolutely abhorrent to me. So that was a big reason why I got involved. Like, if you look at a lot of my earlier stuff, it's all about, you know, the Iran nuclear deal and what a bad deal it is and how awful it is. So, you know, this is a story pretty close to my heart. And one of the things Trump said, and he said it repeatedly, and I did a video about some of this yesterday, is that he said he was going to do away with the Iran deal, because you have to remember, this isn't a treaty. We're not bound to this. This is some crap Obama dreamed up. And if you remember, a bunch of the legislature, I believe it was members of Congress, sent a letter to Tehran after that, to the mullahs there, saying, look, just FYI, this is going to be null and void once we get power back. Well, they got power back, and guess what? President Trump yesterday certified the Iran nuclear deal. So let's explain what certifying that means. It basically says, yeah, they're in compliance, but I know of at least 4 or 5 occasions where they were out of compliance, and threatening our ships and all these other things that were not in the. And basically what they did say is, well, they're not been keeping in the spirit of the deal, so we're going to have to address that another way. That means absolutely nothing. the fact is, this deal needs to go. It's a worthless deal. It's a complete disadvantage to us. And I really wonder, and this ties into the second geopolitical decision that that President Trump's made that I'm questioning, and that has to do with the $350 billion arms deal to Saudi Arabia. And I think perhaps this Iran deal and the Saudi arms deal are related. And I believe they're related like this. Well, first of all, do you remember when candidate Trump was when running for election, he was very not pro-Saudi. You might remember the Saudis spent, I think it was 20-something million dollars on Hillary Clinton's campaign. They weren't exactly friendly to Mr. Trump, but yet inexplicably, when he came in, his language became much softer about the Saudis and the they, him. Oh, sorry. This is my cat, by the way. Yubby. See if my camera will focus. You put my camera out of focus, Yubs. Yeah, there's Yub. Sorry about that. I'm going to go back to the screen to try to get my screen to focus up again. But anywho, way to go, Yubby. Made me lose my train of thought. So, going back to this deal, it's a $350 billion 10-year arms deal that President Trump made with them. They've already gotten the $110 billion of it. It's broken up over 10 years. Let's share screen. I can probably actually bring up the particulars of it. Let me go in there. So, we'll do Saudi weapons deal. So, yeah, $110 billion. Brookings Education. Last month, President Trump visited Saudi Arabia. Administrator announced that he had concluded $110 billion, but it's actually higher than that. $350 billion was the total. 110. That was the first part of it. Today, this is interesting. Barely passed. It said the Senate. So there you are. But anyway, going back to why these would be connected is I think there's a really good chance that there's going to be a massive proxy war cropping up between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now, I don't know if the thinking behind that is good or not, to be honest with you. I certainly don't want to see our troops over there fighting to protect Saudi Arabia. So in a way, I would like them to kind of take care of themselves. I think that would be a nice change of pace. And I don't necessarily have a problem with them. Oh, come on, Yubs. Ugh, you see this? It just wants to be a movie star. Say hi, Yubby. Hi. Does she have pretty eyes? All right, wants to go up here. So there's a little ledge here where my cat can go up. And the problem is when I film, I put my camera right here and she likes to jump down. And she also wants attention and she's angry that I just brought her inside the house. So there's a lot of drama going on. So I apologize for that. So anyway, back to this. Another reason I have a problem with this arms deal is, and I don't necessarily have a problem if Saudi uses them against the Iranians, don't get me wrong, but they are basically, or not even basically, I mean, they're in all actuality conducting an illegal war in Yemen right now. You have massive cholera epidemics breaking out there, things that, you haven't seen, since World War II time frames. The Saudis are using our weapons, that we've sold them, and our aircraft and our airframes, everything, to blow up hospitals, to not be very, they're not really trying to minimize any collateral damage. They're kind of just killing whoever out there. And it's kind of a shock to me that it's actually not more publicized, because when you actually see what's going on, I mean, it's not like it's my opinion. There's a bunch of videos where you can watch the warplanes doing this and see the hospital. It's not an illusion. I mean, this is actually happening. It's not like I'm inventing facts. It's, a very genocide-esque war they got going on over there. and I have a problem with us supporting it. And a lot of these arms that we're giving them are going there right now. So I don't think we have any guarantee if Trump is thinking that Saudi Arabia is going to fight Iran, and this way we kind of get pay for containing Iran cheaply. I'm not exactly sure that's where these weapons would be used. I have a feeling that there's a few other places. I had Qatar, for example. I think they would probably love to go in there. Actually, I know for a fact they would. Ugh, come here, yubs. I know for a fact they would love to go in there. So I imagine you're gonna see some moves going on there soon. I mean, they're basically they are the ones responsible for the current situation you see with Qatar. So I could certainly see that happening. And are these things that we want to be tied to? Are these I mean, think of the Saudis are obviously, and I know that I lived in the country for a year and some change. I know for a fact that they're not very squeamish about spilling blood. So they're not going to I mean, obviously, they're not conducting a nice, warm, fuzzy war over there in Yemen either, now are they? So you can imagine what kind of regime they would impose on Qatar or on anybody else. And we're arming them to the teeth. So they could easily take over some of those Gulf states that displease them and also fight off Iran. So I just don't think it's a very good idea. That was the second deal I think is not very well thought out. The first, of course, being certifying the Iran deal. So those are my two main problems with the Trump administration's foreign policy at this time. And as far, I don't think I'm some kind of a traitor for pointing out that Donald Trump said he was going to get rid of this Iran nuclear deal. I actually looked up the videos yesterday to make sure I wasn't insane, that he actually said, look, we're going to do away with this. And, if it was a treaty and he was legally bound to it and there's nothing he could do, I could understand it. But it's not. It absolutely is not. And he's got no reason whatsoever to not pull out of this god awful deal. And it would be massively popular. And, there's absolutely more reason to do it now to go ahead and pull out of it since you've decided to arm Saudi Arabia to the brim. I mean, why not? But that's not what he decided to do. And I'm sorry, I'm not a Trump bot. I'm true to my principles. And one of my big principles was get rid of this damn deal that killed my friends. Get rid of, this deal that's benefiting the people who killed my friends. Iran, it made the weapon. I mean, you have no idea the weapons and the ordnance that they were shipping into Iraq while we were fighting in there. And those god-awful IEDs they used that went right through our armored vehicles, like I said. They have American blood on their hands. And now that's not to say, oh, I want to start a war with them and let's just invade them. That's not what I'm saying. But we damn well don't have to give them a gift like the Iran nuclear deal. We certainly didn't have to do that, now did we? This was a complete cuck move by Obama that we were supposedly not going to have to suffer all the way through because Trump was going to come in and get rid of it. Well, certified the deal. Yeah, he promised he's going to go after him for not living up to the spirit of the deal, which will be tantamount to nothing. So I'll save you the false hope. It's going to be nothing. So there you go. I mean, we got the Iran nuclear deal. We got $110 billion first installment going to the Saudi Arabian war machine that's starting continuing their blood-soaked war in Yemen. And they're probably, in my estimation, going to eventually go into Qatar, but we'll just have to see how that goes. So does that mean everything with Trump's bad? It's just all god-awful? No, it's not. Really good news came out today, and you're not going to see a lot of it out of the mainstream media. But Donald Trump shifted course today and decided that we are no longer going to support anti-Assad factions within Syria. Those would be those groups that people like John McCain and others said were so great that were beheading 12-year-olds and stuff. Yeah, those guys. So we're not going to be giving them weapons and money anymore. So that is very good news. And it's also a sign that we're backing out of Syria, which is exactly what I wanted after we got rid of ISIS, for us to get the hell out of there. And it looks like that's what we're doing. That's big news. Gosh. Ah, yubby. This is what the cat needs attention. She just needs a lot of attention. Say hi. You're a movie star. You're on YouTube. It's a big deal. So that's a big deal to me. And it's a great news that we're not going to be saddled with some god awful war there. So I'm really happy about that. Gorsuch, we got a Supreme Court nominee, yet to be seen, but hopefully a conservative Supreme Court. That's a big one. That's a huge win. We wouldn't have gotten either of these with Hillary Clinton. That much we can be certain of. So we've gotten the big things. Look at the border. Look at how illegal immigration's dropped. ICE is doing their job. They're throwing MS-13 out of the country. There are good things going on. But I just want to simply be honest with you and tell you the good and the bad. I'm not going to just lie to you because I voted for Trump. I feel that obligates me to support him blindly. That's not what I do. I'm sorry. I will be honest to you and everybody else with what my true feelings are. And my true feelings are Trump has made a monumental bad decision by deciding to certify this Iran deal that we are not legally bound to even take part in. And I also question the wisdom of giving billions and billions of dollars to the Saudi war machine, especially when they've shown a kind of, let's say, almost a Nazi-esque willingness to invade their neighbors and conduct genocidal campaigns. I just don't know if I want to arm them to the teeth. I mean, it generally looks bad when you see a bunch of American weapons on the news with people slaughtering women and children and not giving a damn where their 500-pound bombs land. It generally makes us look bad. So I don't know if it's very wise to give them all this money, but then again, there could be some strategy to it where he wants them to stand up against Iran. Now, another thing I thought was good news, but now it looks like it might not be, is he pulled out of that god-awful Paris climate change BS. Thank God. That was stupid. Now he said that he might go back in, and that's horrible. And I think he's going to lose an awful lot of support if he tries to do anything like that. His first instinct was right, to walk away, so hopefully he'll keep that. But, it is what it is. All I'm simply saying is when Trump follows what he was elected to do, we should praise him for that. And when he goes off message and he goes off what a lot of us elected him to do, I don't think it's treasonous to point that out. And I'm pointing it out. He said he was going to pull us out of this Iran deal. He's going to tear it up. And he didn't. He certified it. He certified a deal with a country that has a lot of American blood on its hands. And granted, I have a personal reason. Like I said, I had friends that died from their bombs. But even not, just as an American, I mean, no connection. I mean, who would want, money going or any deal with these folks? Well, how does it benefit us at all? It doesn't. Do you think they're not going to get their own weapons their own way, another way? You think they're not cheating? I mean, really, they treated the entire negotiation as a joke. And the reason why is because it was a joke to them. They were just way more honest. I mean, you remember John Kerry and the rest of those idiots sitting there trying to negotiate? I mean, basically, Kerry showed up every meeting with knee pads on. It was not good, and it really didn't go well for us. And now I thought that President Trump would do what he said. I thought that he would come in and this horrible deal. I mean, granted, a lot of damage has already been done because they released a lot of sanctions, but he would reimpose them, and at least we'd stop the bleeding. Well, nope, that's not happening. So think we need to, people like me just need to recalibrate our expectations, because it looks like certain things. But I got to be honest with you, this one hurts me. This one hurts bad because this is one of the big ones for me. I know it's not like the make or break for everybody, but for me, it was a big one. So kind of hurts, but that's the way it is. I hope President Trump starts kind of going back on message, but we'll see. I think him going and airing his dirty laundry in there about Sessions wasn't a good move, though. And it's not going to do anything to quite the controversy going around about him, not being able to govern and all that. So it is what it is. I wish I could end this video on a more positive note. But I would say, I'll reiterate the point for the good news that this is a big deal that we're no longer supporting these anti-Assad forces. That'll save a lot of American lives if we're not going to be mired in some god-awful fiasco in Syria. So that's a good thing. So I like to always end my videos on some kind of a positive note. So let's end on that. That's a good thing. You know, us not being mired in that hellhole is a very good thing. But let me know what you think in the comments below. This has been Patrick Hostas.